When the great ship went down on that frigid April night in 1912, the profound silence that followed the chaos was broken only by the distant, mournful cries across the vast North Atlantic. For those clinging to overturned boats or hauled shivering into the lifeboats, the immediate struggle for breath and warmth gave way to a new, unsettling reality: survival. As the RMS Carpathia steamed towards New York, carrying the rescued, a different kind of journey began for them, one fraught with physical wounds, emotional scars, and the daunting task of re-entering a world irrevocably changed. The first sight of land, the Statue of Liberty, brought a complex mix of relief and dread. New York's Pier 54 was a scene of unparalleled anticipation, a somber crowd waiting for news, both hopeful and resigned. As the gangplanks were lowered, the survivors emerged, a somber procession reflecting the varied tapestry of the lost liner. First-class passengers, often clad in borrowed finery, stepped off into the arms of waiting families and the glare of news cameras. Second-class individuals found their footing amidst the controlled chaos, some seeking medical attention, others simply desperate for a quiet corner. For many third-class passengers, often immigrants with little or no English, the disembarkation was a particularly difficult experience. They had lost not only their possessions and loved ones, but often their entire life savings and the dream of a new beginning in America. Crew members, too, faced immediate scrutiny and the weight of their roles. The immediate aftermath was a period of intense disequilibrium. Physically, many suffered from exposure, severe hypothermia, and various injuries sustained during the sinking. Medical aid on the Carpathia and upon arrival in New York was critical, yet the deeper wounds were often invisible. The shock of the event manifested in countless ways: persistent nightmares, a profound fear of water, and an enduring sense of unease. For those who had lost family members, parents, children, spouses, the grief was immediate and overwhelming, compounded by the abruptness of their loss and the public spectacle surrounding their tragedy. The world was demanding answers, and survivors, regardless of their station, were pressed to recount the moments that defined their brush with mortality. Public inquiries in both the United States and Great Britain placed a heavy burden on many survivors. They were compelled to testify, reliving the final moments repeatedly, their personal anguish laid bare for legal and political examination. This process, while necessary for understanding the causes of the disaster and improving future maritime safety, offered little solace or space for individual healing. Some found strength in sharing their stories, hoping to honor the lost and prevent future tragedies. Others found the scrutiny deeply intrusive, retreating into private grief and attempting to distance themselves from the event. The long-term impact on the survivors varied dramatically. For some, particularly those with financial resources, the recovery involved therapy, travel, and the embrace of supportive communities. They might have returned to their previous lives, albeit with a profound and permanent shift in perspective. For others, especially those from steerage, the challenges were far more acute. Many arrived in America with nothing but the clothes on their backs, their hopes shattered, and their networks destroyed. They had to rebuild their lives from scratch, often without family support, facing economic hardship and the stigma of an event that marked them forever. The financial aid provided by various relief funds was essential, but often insufficient to compensate for the entirety of their losses. A significant psychological burden for many was the survivors' guilt, the tormenting question of why they lived when so many others perished. This feeling could linger for decades, shaping their worldview and relationships. Some survivors found solace in philanthropy, dedicating their lives to charitable causes or advocating for stricter safety regulations. Others, like the young children who lost their parents, grew up with the shadow of the Titanic looming large, often discovering the full extent of their personal history only in adulthood. Their lives became testaments to resilience, a quiet strength forged in the crucible of extreme circumstance. They adapted, found new vocations, built new families, but the memory of that night never truly faded. The dramatic shift from the structured, stratified society of the Titanic to the shared vulnerability of the lifeboats, and then to the public stage of survival, offered a stark illustration of human connection and disconnection. The event became a turning point not just in maritime history, but for countless individual lives. The journey of these survivors, from the icy waters to the bustling streets, reveals the profound ways in which a sudden, severe event can reshape individual destinies, reminding us that while power and progress might seem absolute, the human spirit, facing the unknown, always finds a way to adapt and endure, carving new paths forward from the depths of unexpected change.